All right, fuck knows what happened there. I really do not know. I just think the whole StreamYard system just went down. Just got to invite others to finish this off. What a fucking head fuck that is. There we go. Right. Right, that one's down. Get rid of that one. Now I've just got to send the invites in. Invite 1, 2. There we go. And Sava, Mike, Alex. And there we go. We are going again, basically. I honestly do not have a clue what happened there, people. It's just the whole thing just fucking crashed, basically. So it was all I could call it. I just had to set that up quickly and also get the other stuff in there quickly. Otherwise, I'll get done for having music on there that I shouldn't have and everything else. Yeah, people. I haven't got a clue what happened, so I'm just going to wait a couple of minutes, see if this lot can come back on, if it works for them back on. New link. Okay. And there's Sava. Fuck knows what happened there, mate. I just think the whole system just...
Yeah, StreamYard's down. StreamYard's playing up. But I thought it was maybe an Arsenal fan came in here and terrorised you, i.e. me.
No, I think it was Stel hacking.
It's me and Stel. Me and Stel,
yeah.
What have we been called? Neo-Nazis and whatever we are? Yeah, it's us.
I mean, Mike, I've sent you the link and everybody else to the new one. I mean, yeah, that's totally thrown it off balance with what we was doing there. I mean, honestly, all of a sudden it just
Mate,
cut out.
We're pros. We can just get straight back into the swing of talking about Spurs. It's all good, brother.
I thought it was my internet that went down. That's what I was trying to work out on there. Like, was that just my internet? So linked it up to the phone and that and everything on there, and it really wasn't that. But I think everyone has to go back to work and stuff like that. And finish saying what you were saying, mate, and I'll just cut it at that.
I can't even remember where we were. Just look, it's just Spurs, right? Look, I know everyone wants to be excited about something, but you know, some of us have been. I'm not saying I'm special, but some of us have been hurt so many years, Dan, haven't we? That it's just kind of like, for me to believe in something, it can't be words anymore. It can't just be fluff. It needs to be something evidential. And I think a lot of people are so tarnished with Spurs now that instead of actually looking at what's going on, we look at what we want to happen and we try and find ways to make it. Now, listen, do I think it's disastrous? No, we're 3 points off top 3. But again, when you apply that logic, so are 10 other teams, right? It's going to be close in there. But for me, I'm not so worried about, are we 3 points off third? Are we whatever points off relegation? For me, I'm more worried about, again, the word is consistency, momentum. We don't seem to. We get a couple of wins followed by a couple of defeats. Win, defeat, win, defeat. And for me, I think until he sorts that out, I keep hearing that, oh, Ange gets them into the box and it's their fault. And it's like, but every club could say that, right, Dan? Mm-hmm. Every football manager that ever gets sacked, the argument for them could be, oh yeah, but the manager didn't miss this chance or that chance, or that's the way it is, right? That's football. At the end of the day, if it's happening more often than not, managers take the brunt. And listen, we've all had a manager we love, right? We've all had a manager we hate. Sorry, not hate. Hate's not the right word. We've got managers that we don't necessarily.
There's ones you like. There's ones you just dislike their tactics. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's nothing personal.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Look, at the end of the day, look, Cooper's right in the chat. It's all about walking the walk. That's what it's about. Look, take Man United for example. Right, from day one, Ruben Amorim's going to be under the microscope. Right, he's going to join a big club. He's going to be under that microscope very, very quickly. That's why he's paid the big bucks, right? He'll be judged very quickly. I'm not saying, oh my God, month one, they've not won all 7 games in a month, he's got to go. He'll be judged accordingly to being the Man United manager. He'll be judged on what's he coming and changed, what's the uplift, and what we'll do. I know we'll do this. When Man U have a good run to begin with under him, our fans will shamelessly call it a new manager bounce when this is what we base all of Ange's good stuff off. Do you know what I mean? So look, managers have to talk the talk. Whether they're Ange, whether it's Poch, whether it's Jose, they've all got to talk the talk. And when it's their time to go, they're gonna go. It's not going to be because of you, Dan. It's not going to be because of me. It's not going to be because of anybody else. It's going to be because they've not performed. But this manager, more than any I've ever seen, just seems to be getting away with awful results more than not, and we just sort of ignore it.
He does seem to get away. Maybe it is some of it just down to the point that a lot of people are just so sick with it, they're just trying to back him up 1,000,000%. I don't know, but he is pretty loved off. Maybe it's just the way he talks. Maybe it's the way he says things. I don't know. Maybe he could just pull in a bar piece of piss just by the way he talks without buying a drink. I don't know. But this man is loved off more than other. To a point, I think he's more loved off than what Poch was.
Well, let's think back to last season, right? And again, this is where I just think it all goes a bit crazy. Last year, now bearing in mind, I was somebody, Dan. You know, I'll always be honest with you. You know this. I was somebody that thought Poch had to go. It got to the stage where he'd been there a very long time. The writing was
game
on the
over.
wall. Yeah, it was. Yeah, things were getting stagnant. He wasn't given what he wanted. The tensions were high. Performances for a year in the league had started to be a bit iffy. He had to go. But
he was burnt out as well. You could see he was burnt out as well. It was done. It was dusted. I was gutted that he left, but it was what it was in that aspect. I don't think anybody really had the ump with Levy that he had to sack him as such. It was just more the fact that everyone was gutted that it was Poch that had to go. But in a football perspective and that, it was game over for Poch. He was burnt out, the team was burnt out, and it was done and dusted. And it was a time.
You know what?
It was what it was.
At the beginning of last year, when everyone's singing songs about, you know, Poch, I know metaphorically, but Poch being dead and we're loving Big Ange instead. And I started to see people last year going, is Ange a better manager than Poch? And is this the best manager we've had in our Premier League era? When I start seeing conversations like that, I just think it gets really silly. Like, let Ange get to multiple finals. Let Ange finish second in the league. Let Ange show us a brand of football where we attack, but we're also rock solid at the back like we were under Poch. Then I'll turn around and go, yeah, but everyone, Dan, we did what we normally do. We went from day one, pedestal. We went pedestal. And for me, how good is he as a manager? I don't know. Because whenever things get tough, Spurs fall apart. And for me, we keep blaming, we blame these players, right? We say, half the fan base says, it's the players' mentality. They've been here for years. Most of these players have not been here for years, Dan. No. Most of these players have not been here for years. And we were told
Davis and Son.
He's got rid of the Deadwood. So he's got rid of the Deadwood, but his players have still got that mentality. Is it the caliber we're bringing in? Is it the caliber of... I don't know. I just don't know anymore. I really don't.
just to one point I want to go to, and then I'll end this because that last one just fucked up and killed the momentum of which was going quite a good show. I was going to bring it up with everyone, but I'll bring it up with you because I know I get as honest answer out of you as I will out the others.
Yep.
That anyone is welcome on my show to give their opinion, and their opinion is their opinion, and I don't have to fucking agree with it. But if I can put facts down on the table for you, opinions are irrelevant. Same as what you do, yeah? But opinions are opinions. I personally think that January Christmas is going to destroy him. Maybe not. That's a personal opinion. But if we go for another manager again, which I do see happening, where do we go? Because I know any manager that comes into Tottenham, they're fucked if they do, they're fucked if they don't, basically, mate. We all know what Levy's like. But I just believe if we had a younger manager or a manager that could adapt to football and was willing to read a game before it, like the team you're playing, before you bloody play them, we could do better with this team. It's not as bad as it looks at times.
I agree.
And do you know what? I'm going to come up with a strange one here, yeah? Who I really would not say no to as manager. And people are going to say he's got about as much experience as less experience, what I'm saying, Levy, than Ange. But for me, he knows football, was very good at football. And I also think he's taking a chance, but I think he's a young manager who is more than capable of adapting to modern day football. I'll take on Ruud van Nistelrooy.
I mean, look, I don't. I'd need to see more. I'd need to do a bit more research into what he's done, to be honest.
Obviously, there's better. I mean, Nagelsmann, Hertzler. I mean, if we could all have it, we'd want Xabi Alonso and that. I get all that. Or what's it? Frank's not Brighton, Brentford.
Brentford. Look,
yeah.
Dan, for me, I think it's interesting. Can I just say something just really quickly? Like Spurs diehards. Spurs diehards, big up. I don't know which one of them it is, but big up to you guys. Hope you're well. That one. This for me is where I think we take a fact like this and we run with it. But I think when you actually look, how many of those under 24s are actually playing in the first 11, right? Yes, we could say Van der Ven's under 24, but he's a seasoned pro, right? He's played in the Bundesliga and the Premier League now. He's a Dutch international, right? The only real young ones that start for Tottenham are Udogie at 20 and Sarr at 22, right? Like, I think we're going on as though this is a really
people
young.
like to still call Brendan Johnson young though, and for me, he's 24. That is not young.
No, and he's been a pro for about 7 years. So for me, when you look at the players that end the games for Spurs, let's look at the players that ended the game the other day, right? Basuma is 28 years of age. Maddison is 28 years of age. Bentancur is 28 years of age. Right, Timo Werner was 30-odd. Son is 30-odd. Solanke's 27. Porro's 25. Romero's 26, I think. Vicario's 28. When you actually look at the age of these players that are playing, I don't mean in the squad that play 5 minutes. When you actually look at the 11s, it's not that young. So when we're saying, if you look at that comment, so if I go back to that comment, when we're saying, we've got too many inexperienced players. The inexperienced players aren't really playing. But then you look at Brighton, Dan. If you actually look at Brighton, let's use Brighton and Chelsea as an example, right? If you watch Chelsea's entire 11, other than the goalkeeper, is literally 24 and under. All of them. Nicholas Jackson, Neto, Madueke, Palmer, Lavia, Caicedo, Gusto, Fofana. Do you know what I mean? Whoever the left back is, Cucurella. None of these players are over 24. I look at that and go, that's a young team, right? That's a young team. I look at us and so many are 27, 28, and that's not young, Dan. That's not a young team, but we're peddling that excuse. But on the manager front, Ben made a really good point in the chat just now where he said, just a sensible football manager, not over defensive, not ultra gung ho, sensible. That's what I think we need, right? We can't have this, we're going to score. Like, I think when football fans use the excuse, but we're missing too many chances. If we had scored them, we'd have won. Sure, but what about at the back? What about how open we are? So for me, I think that there's a happy medium to be had, but I don't think this manager's going anywhere. But again, Brighton. Did you see the age of the players, Dan, that played for Brighton against Man City? 3 of their midfield 4 were 21 and under. Three of them, Dan. Rutter up front was 22. Right, Hinchelwood's like 18 or 19. Belieber comes on in the second half. He's 20. Gruder came on. He's 20, 21. These teams are all ending games with 5 or 6 20, 21-year-olds. And then we're saying, oh, but it's youth. I don't know who's young other than Udogie. I don't know who's young in this team. So
it all depends what people call young. And I just think that's too much. I just call young it's an excuse at the moment in that aspect. And I do not class someone as 23, 24 young.
No.
I don't. You're meant to be a man at 18. Now, okay, I get it. 18 is young. You're still very vulnerable to the world as such. Even you can be manipulated easy. Yeah? You ain't grown up as such, yeah? Even though paperwork says you are. But when you're 23, 24, even 25, I've seen people call players young.
Yeah.
And they ain't getting their game right. I'm sorry. I am not giving a young excuse to people. Maybe they got the wrong person managing them, whatever, and that, or the wrong tactics they're playing and whatever. Yeah, but I am not going to call out and say Brian Johnson is young. For me, he's just a bang average player who's had a purple patch. And I gave him credit where credit is due. He got a lot of shit and he still stood up, scored a few goals. Fair play on him. He didn't break in the corner. But will you get me saying Brennan Johnson is a quality player? Never in a million years, because it ain't going to happen. You're right, Maz.
It's such a ridiculous argument, though, isn't it? Like to say, oh, yeah, he's young. Well, when Ledley King came through, he was young. When Harry Kane came through, he was young. When Anderton came through, he was young. When we bought Walker and Rose, they were young. I mean, what are they saying? Like, you know, they're either good enough to be in the team or they're not. And then if they're in the team, we expect them to perform. We're Tottenham Hotspur, for God's sake.
Matt, if it's a team with them, though, don't get me wrong, like when I look at Chelsea's team and I look at they're all 24 or under, you do look around and go, okay, there really isn't any leadership here. There's no one with years and years. But it's the flip at Tottenham, isn't it? When you look, we have the majority senior, and the minority young. But
which is what you should have, right? Which is really what you should have.
Right, of course, but every time we lose a game, like I remember after Palace, we lost the game, and it's a young team. What was it? That game ended with Richie and Solanke up top. They're both 28, 27. You know, it ended with Maddison, I don't know, Bentancur or Basuma, Porro, Van der Ven, Romero, these are, we pick and choose what we want. We pick and choose.
I think you're absolutely right, Saban. I think we've got an even bigger problem than that. I've just come off a stream. I'm not going to say what stream it is, right? Because I don't want to get Dan in trouble or anything like that. But and the guys on there were saying, "Oh yeah, but I think we've got a good squad because if you look at it,
it doesn't bother me."
No. We are on TV. I think we've got a good squad because if you look at it, we've got Solanke and Richarlison, and in theory they're really good. And you're like, no, in facts and theory they're really bad. just look at their records. You know, it's like, how far have we fallen? How far have we fallen as a club when our main strikers are basically from relegation candidate teams? It's just nuts.
But Dan, Maz, I was just sending Dan something quite funny, actually. The problem is, Maz, is when Solanke has a good game and scores, for example, and I've always been consistent, Maz, with Solanke. I think he's okay, right? I think he's okay. I'm not going to knock him and say he's the worst striker I've ever seen. I also don't think he's this brilliant striker that most of our fan base think he is. When he scores in a game, you know, against Villa, when he scored 2 really good goals, oh my God, look what he's capable of. He's brilliant. He's perfect for the system. A week later, when he can't hit a barn door, it's, but we don't supply him enough. And it's like, well, hang on, what are we doing here? 1 week he's brilliant and perfect for the system. The next week he's not. Why can't we ever just admit that these are the players we sign? The level of players we sign aren't good enough. But what our fans do is brilliant, 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 brilliant. Suddenly when things aren't going well, but it's not the manager, the players aren't good enough. Hang on, last week you were predicting top 2, top 3. Now they're not good enough. Like which there's no consistency, funnily enough. There's no consistency, Maz, in these opinions.
Yeah. You know what I think is happening, Sav, at the moment, and why we're seeing all of this even more than ever before? It's all coming crashing down and reality's hitting home. And now they're just, again, and now they're just shuffling, trying to readjust their opinions to fit what's happening. And then, you know, we'll be... this is not my... I never said this. You guys have said this. We'll go and beat Man City, right? And the next game after that, probably. And everyone will be like, you see, Ange, boy, you know, right? And then we'll just go and lose, I don't know, against Southampton or some other team or whatever, whoever we're playing, right? And we'll have the same thing again. And it's going to be like this all season. I'm going to call it now. I've given up on the season, like properly. Like I'm just not interested in the league anymore. I just hope, for the love of God and all things Tottenham Hotspur, that we can go on a run in the cup and just fluke a final or something, and just, you know, that's all I can hope for. I don't think Ange is going to be here much longer. If this carries on, surely they're going to get rid of him. Even, you know, we know what Daniel Levy does.
25 years of history, mate.
I think he'll be here. I think he's got too much support, and that's fine. But you are 100% right, Maz. When we win the next game, we win, whether it's against City or the game after that, I believe. Forget Roma. Well, Roma we should beat. They're a mess at the moment. Fulham at home, right? When we beat Fulham at home, let's say we lose to City, beat Fulham. People will go, see? And you'll be like, see what? What? Yet more up and down, inconsistent form. Like, we've got to stop doing this. I've said I will change my opinion on this football club and on Ange when I see some bloody consistency. I will change my opinion on this manager when I see our ability to defend. The goals that they scored at the weekend, right? Both avoidable. Again, we can't defend crosses. Teams know that. Again, when I see the manager sort out the fullbacks and the centre-halves for defending crosses, that's when I'll say he's dealing with this. But we're 18 months in, the same back four that played last year, we still can't deal with crosses. But I'm hearing that I'm going to fix it. It's my job to fix it. Well, okay, and you've been here for 18 months. We still look a shambles at the back. We still look lightweight in midfield. Like, I just don't... I just want consistency.
Yeah. Saba, because you joined after we were having the conversation. I don't know if you listened to it earlier on in Dan's show. We were talking about about Ange saying that it's his responsibility to fix it. Which let's face it, that is the right thing to say, right? He's the main man to say, right? He should fix it, right? And then the conversation went on to how you deal with certain groups of players, what coaching style suits them. We were talking about Jose and how good of a manager he is in certain scenarios, and Pochettino and the coaching stuff around it. When you look at Ange's coaching team, it's an absolute disaster, and it makes you think, well, no wonder the players don't look like they believe in them, because who are they looking to for you know, as leaders outside of the playing team, but in terms of coaching staff? What? Jedinak, Ryan Mason, are they the wise heads that they're looking at? You know, and a manager that got sacked from Hibernian or whether he was a coach. Him, is he the standard? And just surrounded himself with B-Tech coaches, and we're making B-Tech mistakes.
I think you're being nice.
Well, can't be too harsh.
It's like what they say, like respecting someone. I've already said my point on respect, but you can look up to someone for what they've done. And what I'll give by example is if Messi walks on that pitch, people start, and there is a fucking reason to it. I mean, really, as a player, not as a person, but as a player, really, what do you respect Ryan Mason for? About the best you can respect him for is he got his head caved in and then still played football 12 months later or whatever it was. And that's about all you can put on him as like, I respect you for that. What is any player going to look up to a coach like that and think, yeah.
We used to have, I remember, and I've met Clive Allen a few times, right? But when Clive Allen was part of the management team at Spurs, he took a keen interest in Jermaine Defoe. Was it him? I'm getting confused now with my times and dates. But anyway, but something like that. Clive Allen was giving advice to Jermaine Defoe, and he was saying, how did Greasy score goals? He didn't keep smashing it in the back of the net. He was placing them and in the back of the net. It wasn't always a full-on hit, right? And at least Defoe or whoever the striker is at the time, I think it might have been him to Kane. I don't know, right? But at least they can say, yeah, you were a good striker. You were a brilliant striker. I can look up to you, right? And they'll listen, right? Is Maddison going to listen to Ryan Mason? Maddison's achieved more than Ryan Mason. Now, I'm not saying that from an age point of view. I'm just saying it from, we're human beings. You do judge people. You look at people and you think, wow, he's achieved this, or I can be like him. If Yaya Toure was telling you how to be to Pape Sarr, how to be a good midfielder, he's going to listen. The guy's a serial winner. One of the best midfielders in the world when he was playing, right? But Ange has not surrounded the players with people they can look up to. And I don't know, that's what I was asking Sava. I love his take on it.
Yeah, look, I agree. Look, I think it just goes to show it's like the rest
Lee,
of
send me a message on WhatsApp if you want. Sorry, go on.
That's all right. I think this goes to the rest of Spurs. It's about everything is best in class apart from on the football side. Like if picking best in class coaches and best in class players was going to make Daniel Levy as much money as all of the entertainment side and the boxing side and all of that, damn well we'd have those people in place. But it's not important to us as a club. Now, I'm not knocking any of these coaches. I'm not going to sit and pretend I know them all inside out. But would they inspire you if you go to work every day? Is there anybody like like if Jermaine Defoe was our striking coach still, if Solanke's coming in, week out, training with Jermaine Defoe, you'd be thinking, yeah, this man's one of the top 10 Premier League goal scorers of all time. Right? He is, right, Defoe, right? This guy's one of the top 10 all-time goal scorers. I'm listening. Right now, who is that guy within our club? Ryan Mason doing the tactical coaching when he's never managed anybody. Like, even with Ange, I listen, I don't know what the players think of Ange. Some of their body language to me would suggest that, are they enamoured with him? I don't know. Do they run through brick walls for him? When it suits them, when it doesn't, they don't. But again, the key thing for me here, Maz, is when he's come out, to take this full circle, when he's come out and said, it's down to me. Yeah, it is down to you. That's fine. That's what you want to hear from your manager, from your leader. But we've heard him say this before, and nothing's changed at the back. Nothing's changed in the way we set up in those games. So it's got to stop being, I'm going to change this. I've got to change this. We've got to see that when we are 2-0 down at home to Ipswich, what do you do at half time? Do you go, right, you've been, get off, you three, get on there, give me some energy, show me why you shouldn't be on the bench. We don't see any of that. When you're away to Galatasaray, do you say, right, this is one of the toughest grounds to go away to in Europe, right, let's put 2 holders on instead of 1. everybody drop 10 yards for the first 20 minutes and let's keep it tight. We don't see that, Maz. We see the same tactics every game, right? And the only time we saw a different tactic was against Man City, because Man City have the football. That's not so much by design. So for me, more walk, less talk. Right? Show me. Show me.
I agree. Big up, Phil. Good to see you, mate.
Big up, man.
My man Philly here, he says it the best. And Philly, what do you say? Those who
don't hear must feel it, mate. I'm sorry, that's how I was brought up, and that's how I've always seen my life. Those who don't hear must feel, mate. And I've always said, and I added to this bit, and that sacrifices must be made. And I'm sorry, mate, but everyone set themselves up for one almighty fall this season. They said Spurs are finishing third. I said no. I looked at the squad. I looked at the amount of games we had. I looked at injuries. I looked at suspensions. I looked at fatigue. I looked at every aspect of it, and I said this squad isn't good enough. And to go with your point earlier, you said about experience. None of the players in our squad have been experienced of winning anything, and the ones that do, I don't even rate them anyway. And I'm looking at the squad itself, and I'm thinking, where are the likes of Archie Gray going to learn from? Who in that squad can actually give Archie Gray the experience to actually say I've won something? When you look at Barcelona, a lot of our fans say, "Oh, it's generational." Look at Barcelona, yeah. Look how many experienced players are in there. Look at the likes of Ibrahim you know what I mean, up front. Lewandowski up front. Look at how you got Frankie de Jong in the midfield. Look how many experienced players have actually been there, done it, got the scars to show for it, so they can help the youngsters like Yamal when they need that experience. You don't have that.
Araujo, they've got experienced footballers helping these proper generational young players. They went to the new camp. No, they didn't.
Mm-hmm. They went to the Bernabeu, and they showed themselves up at the Bernabeu.
They went to the Bernabeu, and there was like 7 kids in the 11 from the youth team,
and they looked like the men.
They brought on another 3, and they battered them 4-0. Right?
Yeah.
We're sitting here going, we've got a young team, generational young talents, when Bergvall and Gray don't get a minute in the Premier League. Like the levels are. Sorry, that's not very straight.
The fact is, I think if I remember right, there's maybe 3 players in that team that you could say look up to for what they've done in their football career. You can say Romero, whether he's played shit or not, he has, but he's won the World Cup. The only 2 that have actually won anything else significantly is Bentancur and Kulusevski.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Kulusevski, I don't think is the sort of one you look up to, because I think he's more of he comes across like a person, keeps himself to himself in his own bit, whatever. Might have a little bit of banter, but keeps himself to himself, but tries to speak on the pitch as such. And Bentancur, I think he's one who's I think he's more the joker out of the group sort of thing. Just loves to have a bit of banter, this and that, and then goes to the mistake of saying a word and take it too far, even though he don't mean it. Yeah. Apart from that, yeah, Timo Werner's won the Champions League as well. I forgot about that. Okay. I think that just about fucking says it all, doesn't it? I mean, really, what players are there to look up to for this youth team to think, I want to be like that?
Well, Dan, all we heard all year was we've done really well to get rid of Deadwood and then replace them with 18-year-olds that don't play. Like, what good? I'll ask you this question to everyone, right? What has changed from letting this term Deadwood, it's always funny because these players are backed, they're backed. And then after about 4 years of us saying they're not good enough, suddenly fans go, oh, they're Deadwood, right? We've let go of in the last year, we've let go of Ndombele, Skip, Lo Celso, Højbjerg, Dyer, Sanchez, Royale, Brian Hill. I'm trying to think. There's been a few more, right? We've let go of all of those players. People go, oh, it's brilliant. We got rid of Deadwood. what has it actually changed? Because none of those players were playing in the first 11 regularly. So what you've essentially done is moved out the Deadwood that played every now and then, replaced it with kids that play every now and then expecting different results on the pitch with the same 11 that played last season. What has changed? What did getting rid of that Deadwood actually do, guys?
You know what we did? I'm going to reverse an old saying. We got too many Indians and not enough Chiefs. And it's usually the other way around, isn't it? Too many Chiefs, not enough Indians. But we ain't got no Chiefs on that pitch, like we said. None. It's too many Indians, not enough Chiefs. We have got no one who can take control of a game like Eze did against us. And I'm not saying he's a world-class player, but I think he's a very, very good player and very, very much better than anything we've got up front. We just have no one who can take control of that game. Nobody. I mean, Phil, what do you think on that? It's just nobody who can boss that game.
Yeah, I agree. There's no one to take the game. So when you look at how we're structured, and even the way we play, mate, we've got so many round pegs and square holes in that team, and so many players playing in the wrong position. When I look at Adoshi and when I look at Poro, both of them, on the overlap, is what they need. They need to be running down the wing and crossing the ball into the box. They are two best crosses in the squad, right? From the wings. Yet we don't even play that way. We're playing them as fullbacks and not wing backs. So we're not even taking. So when they're inverting you, they're cutting inside and going centrally, but then you're cutting into players' positions. And this is something that I've always said: round pegs, square holes. I don't like that. And sooner or later, that will break. And against the good teams here, you ain't gonna have the space to be doing that. So you're gonna be found out real quick.
You say round pegs in
square holes.
Round pegs in square holes. I think that's an understatement. It's more like fucking octagons in straight lines.
Well, it's a really good point, Phil, because we've already seen it now almost live, right? Madison has fallen. I think everyone's saying it, and I agree. It looks like he's fallen out with Postecoglou, right? And it's probably because Madison's saying to him, "You're not playing me, one, in my position that I want to play. Two, I'm being crowded out by Doji and Son, all over me, and I've got no room to operate." Right? And Ange's like, "Yeah, but that's Ange, mate. We never change." So he's pissed off.
Yeah.
So you can see it. Romero, he clearly, look, he's either not very good, right, or doesn't want to be at the club. I don't care what one it is. He looks like he don't want to be here. He looks like he's fallen out. Right,
he's done and dusted.
Basuma, with the way he's strolling around the pitch, one time he's half decent, other time he just can't pass, can't kick a ball. Another time he's all right. Up and down, up and down. He looks like he's not enjoying it. So,
what defender would?
Exactly.
What defender would enjoy playing that fucking system?
Yeah, but then I'm not going to be nasty here. We said in the summer that we needed a 6. All right. And every time we said we needed a 6 here to cover the defense, a proper 6 here to allow Basuma to be able to play his natural game, because he's not a 6, he's an 8. But we're playing him as a 6, right? We were told Ange doesn't play with a 6.
Don't.
There you go then, isn't it? Ange doesn't play with a 6. So now when you get your lesson, because Ange doesn't play with a 6, and in the big league, you need a 6 to cover your defense so that you allow other players to play in their natural position. Am I surprised that the results are erratic? No.
But Phil, this is what I would say to a manager adapting. You haven't got to change everything on that pitch. But when you go up against someone like Liverpool, against Man City, maybe Villa ain't the best one to pick here because we've done them 4-1. But when you know you're going up a good team, instead of going forward to a 4-2-3-1, that for me is when you go for a 4, and instead of that attacking midfielder, you bring back a defensive midfielder to cover your 2 at the back, while the back ones do whatever you tell them to do. I don't agree with the inverted crap, yeah? But that is when you bring back a defensive midfielder. That is what I call adapting to a game. Whereas a lot of people think, when I say that, I mean he's got to change his whole fucking system. For me, he's got to change most of the system anyway, but call that.
I agree. But then his tactics, I look at his tactics and I look at the way his formation is set up, and this team is crying out for 3-5-2, Dan. I'm sorry, it is. Every time I look at them, it's 3-5-2. And I look at All right, like you, yeah, I've been watching Serie A for many, many years, and I watched Juventus back in the day, yeah, when they had Viekovod, and you had the two midfielders holding, and you had screening, and you had the one attacker going forward, a bit like Lazio would do, where you've got the two there, and you've got one roaming forward, so that he's covered, so that when he goes forward, yeah, they're covered at the back. We don't even do that, man.
Fiorentina done it for years, but again, this ain't the Italian league. It plays different. But this team, I went and done a show on it over a year ago now, that this team has just got a whatever you want to put it, a 3-4-1-2. I said a 3-4-2-1. Saba said a 3-4-1-2. That one actually makes more sense for me because then you can play Son and Solanke there, whatever, yeah? Mm-hmm. But either way, this team has just gotten it. We've even showed it in a couple of games we actually had to do it, that a counter-attacking just suits this team down to a T.
Mm. Can I just say, while we're talking about the whole kind of number 6 thing, and I know Maz loves to go in on my man Maddison. Just kidding, Maz, love you. I just think if you are, I'll start with Maddison, then go to the number 6. If you are Maddison and you've played what is he, 28 now? And you've played your entire 10 years of professional football, whether it was at Coventry, whether it was at Leicester, whether it was at Norwich, he's played his entire decade as a playmaker, right? He's not a central midfielder. And I know people go, they should play anywhere. There's a huge difference between what a centre mid is being asked to do and what a playmaker is being asked to do, right? What you're asking De Bruyne to do or Foden to do, I'm not asking Rodri to do it. Does that make sense? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, play for position.
Right. But we've made... Listen, again, I'm not excusing Maddison. There's a lot of poor games in there. For me, Maddison is the same as the rest. Very inconsistent. But I'd love to see 10 games in a row where Maddison is actually played in his position.
To his best ability.
Yeah, left there to create for Solanke. But what we do is we bemoan him for, he's not strong enough. He doesn't work as an 8.
He doesn't play that way.
He's not. If you want an 8, go and buy an 8. If you want now, if we move into the number 6 position, we had this chat, all of us, right, all summer. And half the fan base are, we need a 6. The other half are going, Ange doesn't play with that. Fine. If you don't play with that, you need your 2 centre mids to be quality. If you don't play with a number 6, let's be fair. Look at Liverpool. Gravenberch and Alexis McAllister, neither of them are 6s. Yeah? But what a really good couple of footballers they are. And the pivot, I can't believe I'm saying that, the pivot between them works because they've got quality. We're trying to do this with lesser footballers who aren't as good on the football as those players. And then when we give the ball away a lot or when they're not in position, we go, this midfield's not working. Well, yeah, if you're going to play a possession-based game, right, you need players who are ultra comfortable on that football. Do you know what I mean? And again, if we take this back to Locatelli, Dan, people go, he can't play in the Premier League. Locatelli can play in any league in the world because he's got a superb touch. He's always in space. His vision is brilliant. His passing is brilliant.
And one of the best at heading the balls.
There you go.
But we want Sarr and Basuma that run around. I just don't know I don't know what the long-term plan is. It just seems like everyone, round pegs.
He just seems to want everybody to be able to do everybody's job. And I'm sorry, not even Barcelona managed to pull that off. No, not even the greatest team on the planet had every player that could do everybody's job. Are you telling me Paolo Maldini, probably in my eyes, the greatest defender ever, could play as a striker? Okay, maybe I get a header now and again. No, there's certain players who can adapt and certain players who can do 2 jobs just as good as each other. But
Dan, the way that you describe it there, is that what he wants is a jack of all trades. But then,
that's what I'm saying.
But if you put it together, and the whole sentence goes, is the jack of all trades and a master of none. And that's the crux of the problem. You're a master of none. And that's what I don't like in the team. I don't like the way the team's set up. I don't like the way that his tactics are always the same. It's tick-a-tack football, and it gets boring. I stopped watching Tottenham after Man United. I let Sava take all the punishment for me, mate. I'm not watching any of that, man. Real talk. I'm not watching any of them games anymore. I just thought, mate, it's the same game over and over again. So let Sava's doing watch-alongs. Let him take the punishment for me. So, and I watched us against Alkmaar, and I thought, mate, we were this game. Yeah, we got lucky because they had so many chances. Puku had a field day with Archie Gray at left back because he's not a left back. I don't know where he plays right now, but he's not a left back or a right back. But then we're shoehorning him into positions and then wondering why that he keeps getting terrorized by the winger.
4 games on the trot when he has played, they have picked on him every time, and I feel for the fella. 4 games on the trot, he's had at least 2 or 3 people just circle him and get that one. He don't even play there. That ain't
mate, if you watch the Euros, and you watch Turkey in the Euros, right, and then you watched Yilmaz, and the way he was terrorizing defenses in the Euros, you just knew when they played Galatasaray and Yilmaz is there, he's going to rip Archie Gray a new one. And I thought, mate, I don't really want to see that. And he did. He tore him apart. It was like they targeted him, and it was like, run at him, run at him, run at him, run at him. And that was the weak spot. And we kept doing it over and over again. And to go with Sava's point, yeah, when you're losing a game like against Ipswich, why not go long? Why not just hoof the ball up front? Why not just put Jagusin up there? Because like you, I watched Jagusin for Genoa. Go long, hit the ball to his head, let him head the ball down. Hopefully Solanke, hopefully Johnson, someone's in the area to feed off that. And then take advantage.
That's strongest point, isn't it? He has got a solid header on that fucking ball. I mean, he scored into Milan on that game he played them from the back and got into the box. He absolutely done them. Right, last thing I want to go to quickly because I've got to go.
I've got to go as well. I'll see you later, guys.
Thanks for coming on, Maz. Much appreciated. Take care of yourself,
cheers, Bye.
And right. It's just a question that's been asked quickly, so I'll go through it quickly. It's been said, Terry O'Shea has asked it. Danny, can you get the 3 troops to go over the next 5 games and predict how many points you think we're going to get? If you can see Ange's gone after the Chelsea game. Well, we've got City away next, Roma at home next, which is obviously Europa. Then we got Fulham at home, Bournemouth away, Chelsea at home, and then I'll take out the Europa one, Southampton and Liverpool. I'm just taking out the cup games. Now, if I'm going to be honest with that, City, if we're going to be honest, it's just being honest, whether you want to call me a fucking Arsenal supporter or a Chelsea supporter or not. If someone is good, I will give them credit. One of my favourite all-time players, Patrick Vieira. I'm a Spurs supporter. But he plays in that position I love, the DM, totally control it. Same as I loved Roy Keane off, same as I loved other people off in Italy for it. Shoot me.
Right, Dan, I'm going to take something to you actually. What would Patrick Vieira be, without Emmanuel Petit? Because Emmanuel Petit was the one who sat in front of the defence and allowed Patrick Vieira the license to be able to go forward and be a DM as well.
Exactly. But either way, he's one of my star players, yeah? He's a player I would have in the team. What I'm saying is, if you're good, you're good. If you're bad, you're bad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care whether I like the club or not. I despise Arsenal. But you can't say over the last 2 seasons they weren't fucking good. It's just this year they look a bit washed. And let's hope it stays that way. But if I'm going to be honest, with City, we're going to come off that pitch limping. Because they're going to have a lot of their players back that have been out. No, they're missing their star man, Rodri. But that one, we are going to come out of that torn a new one. We do have a good record against City, though. But if I'm going to be honest, I just don't see it working. Not where they've got basically their team back.
I think with City, if we're going through them one by one, I think with City, look, on their day they can batter anyone, and on their day they do. Like more often than not, they do. Look, I think we've got a way up. And at the risk of being called a Man City fan here, again, if you say something nice about another club, apparently it means you support them, which is absolutely, it beggars belief. Grown men.
Bullshit, mate. It's your bullshit.
Man City, Carl Walker said, I said this yesterday, Carl Walker said this after the defeat to Brighton. and it was a really honest interview from Kyle Walker. You could see he was hurting. Kyle Walker turned around and said, "We've got no excuses." He said, the calibre of players playing are good enough. He said, "We're not in good form." He said, "Let's see how good we are." He said, "We've won a lot over the last 7-8 years. Let's see how good we are now." He said, "Let's get to the Etihad." He went, "We've lost 4 on the spin away from home. Let's get to the Etihad." And he said, if ever a team needed an international break, it's Man City. Now, Man City have gone into this international break knowing that when they come back the other side, De Bruyne is going to be another 2 weeks further down through his return. John Stones, Ake is going to be back. Diaz is going to be back. Grealish is going to be back. Doku's going to be back. Right now, all of a sudden, it's hang on. City are getting back to a full strength looking team at the Etihad, and you know that Pep's going to be working with them and getting them back on fire. That's why I think they will beat us. Now, if that makes me a bad fan to predict that the best team in Europe might beat us, then I'm a bad fan and I should support Man City.
You're just being fucking honest.
Yeah, but the problem is
Proof hurts.
No, well, the problem for me, is with Tottenham, you just don't know. I call them 30 pots flavored beans. I'm sorry, they are. You don't know what you're going to get. And the thing about going to the Etihad is that with Tottenham, there is no pressure on Tottenham to get anything out of the game because most people think that we're going to lose. And because there is no pressure on the game, you just don't know what result we can get, which is the problem and it is Ipswich. We would have, should have got third, being in the third place after the game. But because there was pressure on that game, I thought, you know what, maybe Spurs might lose this game because there's pressure on it. Because every time there's pressure on a game, and Conte said it himself, every time there's pressure on this team, they crack. And it doesn't matter who the players are, they will always crack. And so I look at Tottenham and I think there was zero pressure on the Man City game because you were not expected to get any result from the game, really. So therefore, I don't know what team will show up.
Philly, this is the thing with Tottenham, right? But by the way, I'm not saying there's 0% chance we can win. I don't think we will.
No, I don't think we will.
But
nothing's impossible.
I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm
You've
saying
been realistic.
at the Etihad are pretty formidable, right? They are. They're pretty formidable. I mean, could someone in the chat let us know when the last time Man City lost at the Etihad? That would be really good to know because they've just lost. They went 33 league games without a defeat in 33 league games, and then they've lost 2 away games. When did they last lose at the Etihad?
But then my brother last season we went to the Etihad and came out with a 3-3 result. So that's the problem. I realised the problem with Tottenham because you're an enigma. We don't know what you're going to do.
That's my point. But that's my point, Philly. This is my point: is we could quite easily go to the Etihad and pick up a point. And then the next thing you know, we're home at Fulham and they're rounding us off in the second half. And again, this is the difference between being a good team and a very good team is we don't know what Spurs we're going to get from 1 week to the next. That tells me.
The thing is with that, with you two saying that, it sort of counters itself as well because we know what team, we know how we're going to play. Literally player for player.
Yeah, we know the team.
We're going to turn up and do it.
Yeah, Dan, if you can actually name the Tottenham team right now, basically, who's going to play against Man City in 2 weeks' time. So it gives Pep enough time, to actually look at the team, and think, look at the players and look at the team and think, I know who I'm going to play against. So it gives you time to set up.
He doesn't even have to do that. He just has to remember what he did last fucking season because nothing has changed. Right, so
I'll be really interested to see how City come out. We know what we're going to do. We know our tactics. I'm going to be interested to see what do City do, who's back fit, and is this going to be one of them where Dr. Tottenham, I know we're not talking about it, but if you are 4 games without a win, be honest, who do you want to play?
Tottenham. Yeah, right. I know.
So Man City, here you go, 28 wins against Man City. Only more. Oh, hang on. No, that's not. Sorry, that was what I thought. I was just looking. I think some people are saying it's Brentford in 2022. Hang on 1 second. When did Man City last lose a league game at the Etihad? Go, keep going, mate. I'll find this out in a minute. November
Either way.
2022. They've not lost at the Etihad for 2 years in the league,
Mhm.
and me suggesting they're going to beat us there makes me an Arsenal fan. Like it's mind-boggling.
But all you're doing is telling the truth. That's the problem. You're telling the truth, yeah, and then people thinking that you're not a Spurs fan. No. I am a Spurs fan through and through. It's just that I'm looking at the team, yeah, and I'm being realistic. I'm looking at who the opposition are, and I'm saying, you know what? Prove me wrong. If you're as good as you say you are, as good as you think Tottenham are, yeah, prove me wrong.
Yeah,
But
we don't.
34 Premier League games they haven't lost at home.
There you go.
And that's it.
And
So
by the way, I'm
any
not
t-
going to judge Ange on that one game. For me,
No.
I judge him on the accumulative. I'm not judging
If
him on.
anything, that's a game you can let him go on because everyone goes there and gets fucking cooked. So
There you
that's
go.
a game you can almost let him go, isn't it? But
Yeah.
anyone saying that they're confident of going to the Etihad and winning, you're like, well, you're speaking with big balls, mate. You better have a big pair.
You know,
That's
and
just
back
being
it up.
honest.
Back it up. That's it. Back it
And then-
up. If you think that is as good as you think it is, back it up. I don't want to hear
And
you
then-
talking about it. Do it.
And then our next game in the league is Fulham at home. Now, we should be doing that, but Fulham is not an easy game. They ain't no mugs. It's another London derby to an extent. And when I've just seen us get cooked by fucking Ipswich at home, we should be winning that one. Surely.
Do you know what? Again, I think it falls into this bracket. I'm actually looking at Fulham's away form. It's not the worst. Fulham are sixth in the away form table. But again, I think it goes back to what Philly said just now. I'd love, in years gone by, I could turn around and go, Fulham at home, done. I don't know anymore. I genuinely don't know. I think a lot of teams have got a blueprint on how to beat Spurs. Whether or not they've got the players to do it is different. But again, a player I'm going to be truly worried about. And again, technically, do I think this guy's amazing? No. Has he got great end product? No. But you know what I'm going to say? Traore, if I'm the Fulham manager, I'm saying, Traore, stay on the halfway line. Stay on the halfway line. Any chance you get, lads, get that ball down that channel, over the top, let Traore run onto it. That would be my tactic. So I don't know, Dan. I'll sit here and say I think we're going to win it and we should win it. But how many times do Spurs mess up the simplest of tasks? Sorry, not simple, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, but these days, I mean, we've for so long now, it's been at times you don't know what Spurs are going to turn up, but we are literally at that point where you just haven't got a fucking Scooby-Doo. What do you put your bet on? You would not have a clue which way to look. Yeah, there's what should, but Spurs are the ultimate team of Dr. Tottenham Hotspur.
Well, go on, Trevor. I was going to say the problem for me, yeah, right, is that what people are forgetting, yeah, is that we're going to have a lot of games in a short amount of time in December and at the end of November and December, right? So we don't know what squad is going to get there, and the squad is bare thin as it is paper thin as it is, and we're going to be playing Europe as well as the Carabao Cup. So we don't know what team's going to show up. We don't know which players are going to show up and which players are going to be in the team. So we have no idea. And we're going to get injuries. We're going to suffer suspensions. We're going to suffer from fatigue because Christmas, you always suffer from fatigue. Always. Because you got games on Boxing Day. You got games on Boxing Day. And you've got games on New Year's Day as well. So we're gonna suffer. And then you've got FA Cup straight after that.
We've got 9 games in 27 days in December. I'm on holiday for 10 of it in the Dominican, so I'm going to miss 4 of them.
And that's enough to damage the best of teams.
That's right.
Dan, that's a game every 3 days, right? Can I point something out about the Fulham game, which makes it a bit more interesting as well? So at the moment, Fulham are 2 points above us, right? It's only 2 points. It's not a lot. Their next game is Wolves at home, right? We're Man City away. We could potentially be playing Fulham with them 5 points above us. Then imagine they beat us. I don't think they will. Imagine they beat us suddenly we're 8 points behind Fulham. Now, obviously, it works the other way. If we win our games, we could be 6 points above them. But that's where we're at now. We're going into these games with the Forests, the Brightons, the Fulhams, the Newcastles, the Villas, the Brentfords, the Bournemouths, capable of picking up points anywhere. All of a sudden, it's not that Spurs are there and all these other teams are down here. We're in with them. We're in with them. So this is a really tough game.
It's the other thing with it as well, where people saying, what is it? We're only 3 points away from top 4? Or is it 4 points? 3 or 4 points? 3. Yeah, okay, I hear that. And people say, yeah, you should be excited about that. Why the fuck should I be excited about that when for the past God knows how many years it's been so near yet so far? And about the only one we haven't actually bottled it in such a long time was when we got 4th place ahead of Arsenal. So how can I get so excited about it? Because we are that team that always goes so near
but so far. Yeah, definitely. I agree with you, Dan. It's always been that way.
And then we got Bournemouth away. Well, the away record says it for me. I see a draw out of that one.
I don't know, because we're so bad away. We are so bad away. And what I've seen when Bournemouth played Arsenal, when they played my Arsenal, when they played my other second team City, they were so up for it. Like on, you know when a manager's really got into the team and said, right, guys, this is about make a statement, right? This is just men v men. This isn't forget that they're Man City, forget that they're Arsenal. This will be the same every time a big club goes to play at Bournemouth, right? They are a good team. They, again, will hurt us with Semenyo on the wings. This is what they'll do. They'll hurt us with Semenyo on the wings. They're tough in the middle. They're a well-organised side. That's going to be a really tough away game. And I'd love to turn around and go, it's only Bournemouth, right? I'd love to turn around and do that, but I'm not going to, because they're 1 point below us. And they're not little Bournemouth now. They're a very well-organised Premier League team with a very good manager, and we're dreadful away from home.
But Sam, beating Man City and beating Arsenal, will give that team confidence as well. So when you're looking at the state of that team, and you think you've beat Man City, you've beaten Arsenal, who's to say they can't beat Tottenham? Who's to say that? You can't. So therefore, it's a game that you have to be thinking, how are you going to approach that game? Because you just don't know what Bournemouth are capable of. Because like I say, they just beat Man City and they just beat Arsenal.
They lost one game at home, right? They lost one game, Philly, which was a 1-0 to Chelsea. Other than that, they've not lost at home. And we've got one away win. Now, listen, I shouldn't be sitting here as a Spurs fan going, do I think we can beat Bournemouth? I want to be sitting here going, yeah, we're a good away team. We can win it. I don't have faith in us away from home. I genuinely don't. The Man U game is looking like an absolute anomaly because we've won 4 away games. Yeah. 4 away games in 10.5 months. That's one of those was...
That's relegation standards as far as I'm concerned.
Well, one of those, Dan, was against Sheffield United, who had already been relegated on the last day of the season. One of those was against Man United, who, 2 weeks later sacked their manager. One of those was Villa. Villa was the good one. Right? Villa was the convincing away performance. And I think the other one was like somebody, right? But
is it Luton?
No, we beat Luton away early last year, didn't we? When Bassoul got sent off. But 4 away wins in 2024 is... Again, people keep going, it's a cherry-picked stat. I don't know how it can be. It's an entire year nearly. So if we've got anything about us, I'm not going to judge on our away game at City, but go to Bournemouth, come back with a dirty, scrappy 1-0 win. I don't care, right? Then go to the next away game, get some points.
Yeah, but brother, I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to, with Ange, right, it's do or die. He's going to keep attacking. And the one thing this is why I don't like the away form, yeah. To me, it's a sign of the pressure. The moment we're away from home, yeah, right, we don't have the home support behind us. So the majority of it's away fans, and I don't think this team can handle pressure. And the moment there's pressure on the team, like I say, they crack. And this is why I think
the manager, and then he just stands there like that.
Yeah, no, and that's the problem because you can't inspire anyone if your hands in your pockets. What are you doing?
The only thing he misses when he does it is like a straw hat and a can of Foster's. I mean, right. And then the 2 games after that, they do this quick now because I've got to go. We got Chelsea at home and Liverpool at home. Chelsea, we will lose.
Chelsea will lose.
No one can blame me saying that.
Liverpool will lose as well,
or at least 4.
Mate, Liverpool.
I think we win one of them. I don't know which one.
No, Chelsea, I don't fancy us, yeah, with their attack. But Liverpool is the one team this season. I've said it to you, Savot, in the chat, mate. Liverpool is the one team I don't want to play if I was Tottenham because what they do, yeah, is they allow teams to have possession, and when they get that ball, they go forward so fast and they are lethal. And I looked at that team and I thought all season, I don't want to be Tottenham playing you because they'll allow us to have the ball that Ange wants it. You can have your tick-attacker, but when they go forward and they break on you, it's just like, whoa. And Diaz go forward.
They are going to do us on that count.
You know that. That's exactly what I said.
I just know what Spurs are like. It's one of those games, the sort of game we'll pick up a win that will turn the fan base back to we're winning a league. Look, listen, the last time we played 2 good teams at home, we beat City and Villa. I'm not saying that's going to happen again. Liverpool is going to be a test because Mo Salah, Núñez, and whichever Diaz on the counter is going to frighten the life out of us. Mm-hmm. We are not going to cope with that at all. So, look, how many games? 5 games. How many points do I think out of those 15? City, I don't think we'll get anything.
4
Fulham,
if we're lucky.
3 points. It's got to be. Bournemouth, 1 point. And then one of those 2 games we've got to win. I think 4 to 7 points from 15. If we get 4 points from those 15, it's going to leave us languishing in mid-table after the next 5 games. Mm-hmm. And all the other teams will have gone. So we've got to win. We've got to win 2 and draw 1 at least. We've got to get 7 points minimum.
On the last point I make, you just do feel, same as me, and I think same of others, that Ange will just get one of those results to put some more wallpaper over the crack on the wall.
By the way, you missed the league game, by the way, Dan.
Did I?
Yeah. Southampton away before Liverpool.
That one's Southampton. I think we'll win. I can't see us beat Liverpool the way that they play at the moment. I can't see it. I can't. Chelsea, we might get a draw against Chelsea, but against Chelsea, yeah, I've grown up watching Chelsea beat Tottenham every time, and I think Chelsea will beat them.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to have to end it there because I've got to go. Sorry, people, about it crashing earlier. So give us a quick like and subscribe on both shows if you can. Sava, where do we catch you next?
I don't know, to be honest, mate. I don't know. International week's tough. I'm not sure. At the moment, I'm not sure. Probably the Spurs review Sunday night. I don't know.
Okay. And thanks to all the panel for coming on. Nice to see you again, Phil.
Wait 1 minute, Dan. This is for Ben K. You. Oh man, yeah, come on,
All right, then,
I need to go. I'm currently in a
queue
on the Arsenal website for a shirt with Sava on the back, so I'm just I'm gonna have to go and finish buying that. All right, lads.
You go do what you want to do. All right, then, people. See you later. Wrong button. See you later. Have a good day. Thank you.
Bye.
I'm gonna turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'm gonna turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Give it to me like